Today's lesson is on intercepts, and we're talking about intercepts when dealing with linear equations. And we've already briefly discussed the y-intercept when we learned to write equations, but what is an intercept? Intercepts are points where a graph touches or crosses the x-axis and the y-axis. Look at the coordinate plane below and write an ordered pair for each point. Pause the video and do this now. The points that lie on the x-axis are 1, 0, 4, 0, and 9, 0. The points on the y-axis are 0, 3, and 0, 6. What do all the x points have in common, and what do all the y points have in common? Well, the x points have a 0 in the y value. Notice all of them are something 0. And the y points, there's a 0 in the x part of the point, or the x value. We're going to use that information now to talk about the intercept. So the intercept, the y-intercept, are points of the graph on the y-axis where there is a 0 in the x value. So the point we know as 0 and then whatever value y is. The x-intercept are points of the graph on the x-axis where there is a 0 in the y spot. So we have x, 0. So if you look at our graph below, we have the x-intercept labeled where the line crosses the x-intercept at 3, 0. And then we have the y-intercept label where the graph crosses the y-axis at 0, -5. Now on a linear equation, there is only going to be one x and one y-intercept. But on different equations, as you'll learn, it's possible for there to be more than one. But right now, we're just going to deal with linear equations, so there's always one x and one y. There's never more than that. Find the x-intercept and the y-intercept of the lines. Pause the video. The red dots are there to help you find the intercepts. For the first one, you'll notice the x-intercept is at 1, 0. The y-intercept is at 0, 3. On the second graph, the x-intercept is at -4, 0, and the y-intercept is at 0, 2. Now that we understand x and y intercepts graphically and as ordered pairs, let's translate into finding the intercepts from equations. So we know that the x-intercept is the point x, 0. Which means that y is always 0. That's what we discussed with our x-intercepts. So when we want to find the x-intercept, we substitute in 0 for y and solve for x. So we subtracted 8 and divided by 2. X is -4, so our x-intercept is -4, 0. Now the y-intercept is very similar, except instead of y being 0, x is 0 because our point is 0, y. So now we're going to substitute in 0 for x and solve for y. Well, 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 8 is 8. Y equals 8, so our y-intercept is 0, 8. So for our equation, if we were going to graph this, we would have a point at -4, 0, and at 0, 8. Those would be our two intercepts of our graph. That would be where our line crosses our graph. Find the x and y intercepts for each equation. It's your turn now. Pause the video and try these. The x-intercept, remember that y is 0, so we plug in 0 for y, solve for x by adding by 9, and then dividing by 3/2, or multiplying by 2/3 if that's an easier way to think about it. X is 6, so the x-intercept is 6, 0. Y-intercept, we plug in 0 for x, so then solve. 3/2 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 9 is -9. So y-intercept is 0, -9. Now in standard form, it's also very easy to find the x and y intercepts, and this is one of the useful pieces of standard form. So the x-intercept, we plug in 0 for y. 3 times 0 is 0, so we get 6x is 12. Divide by 6, x is 2. So it's 2, 0. The y-intercept, we plug in 0 for x, so they cancel. 6 times 0 is 0. So we get 3y is 12, so y equals 4. 0, 4. So we can find the x and y intercepts on a graph, and we can also find them in an equation. And that's it for intercepts. If you have any questions, please bring them to class.